Good morning, Dobro Utra. First and foremost, I would like to start by thanking the Riga Forum for the hospitality and the cooperation with the Shem Olam Institute in Israel. I hope that this cooperation will contribute greatly to the study of the Holocaust. There is no doubt that the Holocaust of the Jewish people is a traumatic and formative event in human history, and particularly in the history of the Jewish people. The Holocaust is a central link in the Israelis' experience and an essential element in shaping the collective Jewish identity, both in Israel and the diaspora. As we all know, history is a subject as a perspective through which we looked at the past. However, we cannot let the facts just speak for themselves. There is a need to balance the picture. Moreover, the Holocaust is impossible to conceptualize and beyond the students' perception. When we examine these questions, we must distinguish between the historical collective dialogue and the educational discourse in the educational system. During my talk, I will focus on the educational discourse as it reflected in the Israel system. The educational discourse is designed to give the student knowledge and content to enable the student to become an independent scholar who can examine historical knowledge using the tools he has acquired. Over the years, the educational discourse works in various fields on the assumption that each student has skills tailored to him. Teaching methods included varied and unique tools to encourage the student to take an active part in learning process. Over the years, special tools have been developed for teaching history in general and teaching the Holocaust in particular. Using my personal experience, I would like to suggest some ways, some tools that I use for teaching the Holocaust. For example, I mainly used testimonies. Holocaust survivors are a key factor in the Holocaust story. Their testimonies have played a major role in understanding the Holocaust events and their significance. In many cases, testimonies are exclusive sources reflecting the Jewish perspective in the Holocaust, unlike the documentation and records of the planners. Given that events, it is obvious that the survivors are a necessary source for in-depth understanding on the Holocaust. The testimonies is a unique historical source which has two main features. First, the testimony is based on first-hand experience the survivors underwent and witnessed. Secondly, the testimony is always told in respect from the distance of the time, in contrast to the reports and documentation during the Holocaust. World recognition of the importance of survivors' testimonies as a central source for understanding the Holocaust has become more and more recognizing in recent years. During Holocaust studies, the student meets up with the Holocaust survivor and his story. The student can gain tremendous insight by analyzing, among other things, the body language of the survivors, and he can examine the testimonies from the perspective of history, gender, and age of the survivors during the Holocaust period. It is important to note that beyond the historical value, the testimonies are a platform for instilling values such as coping at time of crisis, relationships between humans, preserving or failing to maintain human dignity. In addition, the students can try to identify with different feelings and situations from the world of the Jews at the time of the Holocaust and connect them to his personal world, even though he did not experience them personally. Another teaching tools I use is learning centers. Learning centers have been established in various schools in Israel as a tool to implementing the material learning and building up a relationship between the knowledge and the students. Learning centers deal with issues related to the Holocaust. For example, the issues of children and youth in the Holocaust, coping, and faith. In addition, there are mobile learning centers that you can transfer from place to place, from school to school, and they serve the same purpose. The learning centers are a joint initiative of students and teachers, and included exhibition, photographs, information, extracts, and use of technology and multimedia. The project is accessible to all students and contributes to improving the cognitive process. For example, the subjects of youth diaries. If we take parts from the diaries, it can provide us the opportunity to hold the discussion or deal with dilemmas and situations mentioned in the diary, including the issues of coping of Jewish youth. Another teaching methods I use is research assignments. In Israel, the research assignment is an educational task, which is an integral part of the Israeli matrix in history. So, for understanding, the students had to do it, but he gets a list of topics, and from these topics he can choose. Research works enables the... Everything is okay? Continue. Research works enables the student to implement the tools he has acquired according to the selective topics and delve deeper, even behind school hours, I can testify. The students received a list of several topics. After choosing one of them, he must present a research questions. He then finds information connected to it through historical research, looking at testimonies, documents, artifacts, and items from the Holocaust period. The research work is carried out under the guidance of the teachers. The students present the research questions and the conclusion he received by using the research tools he worked with. Often, and it's amazing, the student finds an interesting fact which was not previously known. Research leads to creative and independent students learning, which benefit future academic learning. So like I said, there are many ways to teach, and one of the popular tools is movies and pictures. Visual means serve as a tools in shaping memory. Art is viewed as a historical item. For example, a photo or an art painting is designed to express a specific situation. We expose the student to visual images from the Holocaust, which were painted during and after. And together we analyzed minute parameters. Let's say, what did the artist want to express? Why did he choose to paint this object? In this way, we bring the student to the study of the Holocaust from different perspectives. In Shem Olam Institute, we have artwork painted by artists in the Lodz ghetto. By looking closely, this is the picture in front of you, you can notice that the picture was painted by carrot Jews. Almost unbelievable in a period of starvation where every piece of food was precious. From close research of the status of Jewish in Lodz ghetto and elsewhere, we can conclude that the drawing served as a means for preserving the identity of the Jews as an artist, dealing with reality that was falsely imposed on the Jewish people. Even without his regular art tools, the artists find the way to express the situation. Items and objects tell a story. Using artifacts from the Holocaust help us learn a lot about the period. A ball, a spoon, a prayer book, and even a doll is individual objects which have a story attached to them. The story goes hand in hand with an educational program which reflected the Shem Olam's outlook. Shem Olam seeks to establish Holocaust remembers on the basis of individual coping. For example, the doll of a child from the Holocaust period, which was given to Shem Olam by the owner for custody, is an observant figure, present and events and observe the behavior of those around. The doll adds another layer of memory in internalization of Jewish moral values in historical formative events. This is the doll in front of you. A research innovation is teaching the Holocaust through simulation games and historical court of law. Here, the student is required to study about the period and role-play the characters. This contributes to the development of thinking, creativity, at the same time analyzing historical values and awareness of subject. The student uses his judgment, confronts different opinions, and sharpens his ability to distinguish between events analyzed and moral judgment. For instance, the Eichmann trial, or situation with the heads of the Judenrat, Jewish Council, had to deal with, for example, Adam Cherniakov as opposed to Chaim Rumkowski. These ideas behind this is to enter the world of the individual and the general during the Holocaust, seeing the values that were tested under harsh reality and ask what values I take or not take into my personal world. Last but not least, our letters and personal stories. It is almost impossible to grasp the numbers that indicate the numbers of victims. How can we teach what happens to 6 million people? However, when we choose to deal with individual, specific characters, you can learn about the community in a particular place and about the individual. Letters from this period can attest to historical reality, emotion, feeling, dilemmas, and ways of coping. The letters and personal stories are priceless and allow the student to open a window to the Jewish world during the Holocaust. I wish to conclude on a personal note by saying that for me, teaching the Holocaust is a real challenge in terms of the times, its conceptualization and its accessibility to the student. However, by using the tools, and there are many, as you see, it is possible to achieve far-reaching results in creative partnerships, learning, and awareness of the Holocaust. I would like to end by 1 minute by telling a personal story. When I started to teach about the Holocaust, I brought to my student a little shofar. I couldn't bring it here because it is very precious to my family. I can show you in a picture. This is the shofar. Shofar is a tool which the Jewish use for Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is a holiday. And we believe that the shofar, its voice is very unique, and we believe it's help us awake and thinking about our thought and God and faith. So like I said, when I started to teach about the Holocaust, I brought this shofar, this little shofar, and I asked one of the students to blow the shofar. And then I asked him, how did you feel? Was it hard? So he said, of course, it's a little shofar and it's very old. And then I say to him, what if I tell you that this shofar was wandered from the ruins of Warsaw Ghetto to Israel by my grandfather, a Holocaust survivor from Buchenwald? Then his eyes were wide open and he asked to learn about the Holocaust more and more. So like I said, there are many and unique ways to teach about the Holocaust. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. YAEL.